Marriage should be fun, fulfilling, and full of joy, but too often, outside voices try to define what it should look like. Your Best Marriage Now is here to challenge the norms and help couples build a relationship that feels right for them. Hosted by Reshema and Jack Mountain, this podcast is all about embracing the freedom to love, laugh, and grow together. We believe in living at your own address, meaning your marriage should reflect your values, your happiness, and your vision. Join us as we share real conversations, practical insights, and plenty of fun along the way. Let's dive in together.
Welcome to Your Best Marriage Now show. I am Reshema, and this is my amazing husband.
I'm Jacques Mountain.
Yes, you are. Thank y'all for hanging out with us today.
Yes.
And so we come on every week. We talk about having your best marriage now. Is it just for us? It's for you. And we base it on what we call the 3 C's. The first C is communication. The second C is compromise. And the third C is commitment. And today we're going to talk about, I'm not going to say it's my least favorite one, but I will say it's the one that has challenged me the most. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. Compromise it's been the thing for you, girl. Mm-hmm. Because as my husband likes to say, Negro can't always get their way.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Go ahead, babe.
Okay, well, we are coming up on 20 years of marriage this year, 2025. So if your first time getting on with us, welcome. And we're just going to jump right into it. So, we talk about communication every week. We talk about compromise. We talk about commitment. But this week, as we deal with and start off with compromise, what we really want to see happen is we come to a win-win space in the household. We are big football fans, and we are all about the team.
Yeah.
So if in the huddle we say we are going to let you run the ball, and we come out the huddle and the defense is set up where we can't run the ball, we need you to be flexible enough that if I call an audible and say, hey, go out here, you're going to run a pass play, I need you to go out there to catch the pass. I don't need you to be like, well, I don't catch passes. All I do is run the ball. Why are you trying to change now? You trying to change me? Actually, I am trying to change you, yes. And I'm trying to change you for the sake of the team, because this is for the team to win, not just for you to win. And that's what we hear a lot of times. We've counseled a couple for over 15 years, and we hear a lot about what's best for me. Mm-hmm. Kind of like some of the superstars. Well, I need the ball more. Mm-hmm. I need to take the last shot. Get me the ball. Mm-hmm. Well, what about my stats? I didn't score no points this game. Y'all, it's all about you. You're not a team player. Mm-hmm. And eventually that's going to hurt the team. Mm-hmm. Eventually the team is going to want to trade you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you don't want to get traded out your marriage. Because I'm going to trade you. Joe, I'm about to trade you in for Fred. I'm about to get somebody new. Because you're not concerned about the team.
Tell them.
I'm just saying. Because after a while, even, years ago, remember T.O.? Remember he was playing years ago? He just got to the point where if he wasn't getting the ball, he was causing confusion in the locker room. Yeah. It was a big deal to the point where he got suspended from the whole NFL. Mm-hmm. And I like T.O. I used to like to watch him play. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying was it became about him.
Yes.
It became toxic to the family. It became toxic to the team. And now they're like, even though you have great value, we're not getting it because you're so consumed with you. Mm-hmm. So we are all about it being a win-win, whether it's in finances, whether it's with the children, whether it's in the bedroom. It's like, how can we all benefit from this thing and not just one-sided? Mm-hmm. Because most of the time, when there's an issue, one person walks away feeling like they lost.
Yeah. And that's how it was in our relationship.
Yes.
You always felt like you were taking the loss.
Yes.
Because I'm going to be honest, I would get on my tangent because I felt like I was right. Like I really believed, and this is not an exaggeration, like I really believed that I was right. There was this one time when we lived in our townhome and you would say, babe, close the cabinets. When you finish getting stuff out of the cabinets, close the cabinets. I don't leave the cabinets open. Babe, you're leaving the cabinets. No, I don't. Why are you saying that? I don't leave the cabinets open. Y'all, God almighty. I really was convinced I did not. Till one day, he was going to work. Our oldest son was going to school. I was in the kitchen, and I turned around, and God showed me every single cabinet was open. You talking about humble pie. I didn't immediately tell you because I didn't want to be wrong. Like, I'm just being honest, I did not want to be wrong. And I can't say even still to this day what that's all about besides pride, but to me, I just felt like what I was seeing or what I believed, and for us, it's been a lot of back and forth, especially with the finances. I believe that my way was the right way. I believe that my evidence, I believe that my history, my, and for those that don't know, we actually do run a company together. We actually have two companies that we run together, like literally work together. And so that's where a lot of our friction has come in because we work so closely together. And, he had a way of doing things, and I would come in, it's like, I'm the CEO. It should go like this. And there was plenty of times you wanted to say, Smidge? No, we not going to do it like that. No. You was like, you need to learn to listen because you was like, I have a mind too, and I built this company 15 years without all of that you doing, girl.
Exactly. And it comes from a place of, we don't even know why so many people want to be the CEO of everything. It's like, make it work. Make the business produce fruit. And then and we'll call you CEO. We'll call you big boss. We'll call you whatever it is, but make it produce some fruit first. We 20 years in business. I mean, we have made hundreds of thousands of probably some millions of dollars. We know business. But still with that, there was a way you wanted to do things. There was a way I wanted to do things. And then we ended up calling it, the bureaucrats. Well, this is how it should be done. Yeah. But I'm like, hey, I'm the Navy SEAL out here in the water with the pistol. You can't do it like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we had to have some common ground. Well, I just see it being done like this. Well, that's because you're in Langley, Mr. Government official, and I'm over here in Iraq. You can't do it like that. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So we had to come to the point where it was like bureaucrats versus boots on the ground.
Yeah, that's our
Let's have a discussion. Yeah. On how we can make this thing work where you're not out here having us die trying to do it your way, which is the wrong way in the field.
And that's actually how, and I had to take that mindset. That's how we do every area in our marriage. And why do we need to separate business? Right. It's like, why do we, because you asked me, like, why do you need to become somebody else when you step into the business role? It's like, we talk about how we gonna raise the kids. We talk about how we're gonna have friends, who's gonna be coming over, who we're gonna be friends with. We talk about working out. We talk about health. It was like, we talk about all those things. So with this area, why is it that it's got to be your way? You want to do this and you. And I was like, yeah, because I know what I'm doing. And you was like, no. And I realized real quick that, and that's one of the things I love about you, but one of the things that has challenged me, and I'm going to say this to the ladies. If you got somebody that challenges your big girl, big boss energy, keep him. Because it will help grow your capacity. It will help grow you into the leader that God wants you to be in every area. It will help you to see that you really cannot get to where you're trying to go on your own. Like, I realize that where I'm trying to go, because I see things like I consider myself a visionary. You're like, yeah, but somebody got to execute the vision. And I'm a part of this, and you're a part of this. And your part isn't always the right part. And we need to do things differently. So I do want to ask you this right here, because I want you to answer it from just, you can say male or female mindset. What is it like with someone who just doesn't really want to see things from another point of view? And how did you work with me to get past that?
There's a thing called counseling,
Yes.
therapy, marijuana. No, it's just it's a lot of things that got me through it. You know, it's frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you angry.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you feel less than, because it's like, why doesn't this person value what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I just was like, forget it. I'm just going to do it the way I know to do it, because you're not listening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would be like you saying, stop spending all the money on batteries. Why do I look at Home Depot and there's a charge for $100 worth of batteries?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've never crawled up under a house.
Right.
You don't know how many flashlights it takes to go up under a house and make sure you go under the house and you come back out from under the house.
Yeah.
So you being angry about the number of batteries we spent doesn't correlate, because you've never done the job.
Yeah.
And so it's like, until, once again, communication, you get in the other person's shoes, then you like, oh, because I like, you know what? Why don't you come up under a house one time? And then you be like, oh, you know what? Let's get $200 worth of batteries.
Right.
Because it's darker than what I
Listen.
thought. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what we're trying to say is to the people, get in that other person's shoes. Once again, communicate. The word communicate comes from the Latin word common care, communicare, where I care about where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think eventually, you know, you got rid of the title. We want to say, I'm the CEO, I'm the president.
I got rid of it.
Because you realize it's just pride. You
Yep.
want people to respect what you're doing, but then once again, why are we so concerned about what people think about what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
It's working.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we recently have found out, we've met a couple of millionaires, some billionaire people that have no social media.
Right.
They have no platform. They have
Yes.
no followers and no likes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, man, so what is this? You see what I'm saying? So sometimes even the outside influence of the world has us acting a certain way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, why do you have to be a mean boss woman?
What we used to say.
Why do you have to be that? Who told you that? Who told you that you got to talk down to your employees, and if you don't discipline them and get them in order, things ain't gonna work? I have never talked to anybody like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I had to fire people, I've been nice.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because it's like, where did you get that from?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when it comes to the win-win, I know we kind of going off in the business now, but you're the visionary, you see things, but my part is, but how do we walk it out?
Yes.
You're like, hey, I see the ball going over the fence. I see a home run. And I'm like, okay, great. But I'm looking at the next pitch he's about to throw.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a curve? Is it a fastball to even know if I can even hit it before it even goes out the park?
Yeah.
And I think the frustration comes sometime when we're looking so far down the road, wanting to see a thing happen, but you're not considering what's going on locally.
Right.
Yeah, let's get started.
Yeah.
Well, I see me having this big vision, and it's going to be 10,000 people in the arena, and I'm going to sell out every time I go. Okay, great. But let's see if we can sell out on Old National first. Let's see if we can sell out on Candler Road. Let's see if we can sell $100 tickets
Yeah.
before we try and book State Farm Arena.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I don't have a problem with vision. I think we should grow.
Mm-hmm.
I think things should grow. I think they should grow to the point that God intended for them to grow, not where our ego wants them to grow.
Mm-hmm. And that is where, for me, I'm going to be honest, that's where a lot of friction came for us. Because I would see something or thought I saw something, and I now wanted to push it off on you and would get upset as to why you're not catching it, or angry, like really, really upset, because then I started feeling like you were holding me back, which is stupid, because if anybody has cheered for me, supported me, invested financially in me, who's created this great life, it has been you. But the delusion of what I think is best translated into me treating and talking to you all kind of crazy ways. Like, I remember this time I was acting like a utter fool, because that's what it was. Just carrying on, just talking crazy, just going off. and you walked away. Thank God you walked away. And you came back and you just looked at me and you said, you know what? I have feelings too. And I just looked at you like, I realized I had lost the care for you. That what I wanted and what I thought I saw, it was more valuable to you, more valuable than you. Mm-hmm. And that became an eye-awakening experience, more experiences where I realized that you can't lose the care of the person.
There you go.
Because people are more valuable than the fame, the money, the this, and this. Because I would always say, man, if we not good, then nothing else is good. I was saying it, but my actions were not lining up because I wasn't willing to compromise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then, you know, my fraternity brother, my big brother Shaq got up one of them reels a couple of months ago and talked about when he lost Shawnee and the kids. Talking about, I got this huge house and it's empty. I got the gym, the pool, the bowling alley. He's talking about all this stuff I got and it's empty. He was like, that's one of the biggest mistakes, biggest regrets of his life.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it for the people. But you can't forget the people. You can't forget I'm doing it for the people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I told you this recently. I said, you know, for the first time, I can see the value of a small church. Remember I told you, I said, man, it was this guy I said, he ain't got but like 10 people in his congregation.
Yeah.
But if that's the 10 that God wants him to have, that's an awesome and amazing church.
Yes.
He never has to be Pastor so-and-so with the mega church or Pastor so-and-so with 5 locations. He's doing what God told him to. That's successful. But somebody else would say, well, if it's really that successful, you'd be growing and multiplying and people be coming. Not necessarily. You see what I'm saying? Like, where are we getting these definitions from? Where are we getting these
success definitions?
Definitions from? And it's from somebody else versus going with what's in my heart. And if I don't see what you're saying, Lord, help me to see what my spouse is saying. Help me to grasp. Is this really the next step?
Yeah.
Or is this just something that they think we should be doing?
Right.
Or it looks fancy, or it looks nice, so I can tell people about it. And then it don't even bear no fruit. You know?
Yeah.
So that compromising win. Because, I mean, even with the finances, like we would have those arguments about the money. And finally one day I looked at you and I said, you know, I can count too.
You did. I didn't believe you, but you
I know.
said it.
I was like, I graduated college while you were still in high school. Like, I know how to count. Like, I got some sense too. But for the sake of not having arguments, I would just let you do your thing. Because I'm like, you know what? It ain't even worth all that.
Yeah.
It ain't even worth all that. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to do what's best for the team. I'm going to do what's best for the household, even though I didn't do it your way.
Right. Yeah.
Recently, we had a couple bills to be paid. It was the mortgage and it was our son's tuition. So I looked in there. I saw the amount of money that was in there. I could have paid either one. Didn't have enough to pay both. But I just went ahead and paid his school tuition. And then you looked in the bank account and you was like, you paid the tuition and not pay the mortgage? Why did you pay the tuition and not pay the mortgage? I said, well, there's another couple thousand coming in on Friday. I'll pay the mortgage then. And then you was like, you said, I wouldn't have done that. And I said, I'm not you.
Yeah.
And I see these people every day when I drop him off and pick him up. I'm not going to have him here not being paid.
Yeah.
The mortgage company, they going to give you 30 days. They'll get it on the 7th, but this school going to get it on the 1st.
And that was, it sent me into haywire. Like, it sent everything that I had been trained and taught. It just sent me into like this frenzy. I was like, why would you do that? I was like, this is what and it's not like you said, I knew we had more money. It wasn't like that was our last check and we weren't going to get no more checks.
Right.
But it was my prior way of training and thinking that was butting up against your present way of doing things.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize a lot of time the lack of compromise from me was stuff and rules and things that I had been taught from other people. And that's where we have come. That's why we came up with live at your own address. It's like what works for us, because what worked for someone, like you can Google so many different programs on how to get to this. Which one is the right one? If everybody has the result of, and so that's what we had to learn. Okay, what's working for us? And I looked at you and I remember telling you, babe, I don't trust you. And I realized it wasn't you that I didn't trust. I just didn't trust that anybody else's way besides my way, because that's what I was taught was going to get me the result that I needed to get to. And so that was a very teachable moment for me to realize that, man, we've been together for 19 years.
Right.
You have never done anything, which goes back to the friendship and the character of the person. You've never knowingly done anything to put our life, our family, our living in jeopardy. Right. So it was like, chill out, girl. Chill out. Yeah. And I got to the point where I was like, even for 30 days, I had to compromise and say, you take it and run with it. And that was the most peaceful 30 days of my life.
I told you I could count. Yeah, but it's like, sometimes you just have to show them, you know what I'm saying? So here's the thing.
How did you get over that? That's what I was saying. Help other couples get, even their spouse doing the crazy stuff like I was, help them to get past that.
What I never wanted to get into all of the details, but I was just like, I've done stuff before I met you. Like, I bought a house before you ever bought a house. I graduated college before you ever graduated college. Like, I have, here's the thing. I have yielded to you. You thought you controlled me. You didn't control me. I could buck any minute. But I don't.
That's good.
But I don't for the sake of calmness. Because I try and keep that side down. I don't want that side coming out, because you've seen that side come out once or twice in these 20 years.
Please don't ever.
Yeah. And that side, that's just not a good side of me. So I have yielded. But then out of yielding, you can think, oh, this person's weak. And then they're not weak. They're just saying, I want to go on to something else. I want to do something else. I got bigger things.
Right.
So sometimes it's just explaining that. Just like, hey, you know what? Like, you do realize before I married you, I had my own apartment, my own car, I paid my own bills. Like, I had something. That's why you were attracted to me, because I had done some things. I had, you know what I mean? So it's just sometimes reminding the person. Yeah. My way is not your way, but I still get it done. Yes. Because, one of the things I've always said, and this is what I tell the guys that I train, when I train new inspectors starting their business, do not do anything to start this business that's going to hurt your family.
That is true. Yeah. Don't
you buy a camera, an equipment, a drone. Do not hurt the family with your business. Yeah. Well, God gave me a big vision. Well, he better give you some big money. Right. But until then, you better work on small vision. Because we've heard that argument.
Oh my God, that has taken
God
a
told
lot
me
of
to
people
start this
over,
business, and you go 60,000 in debt or a ministry, right?
Yes,
you better not.
And you hurt your whole life. And you find yourself being traded. Yes, because you don't want to compromise. You don't want to. I realize, for me, I'll talk about me. Yes. There was no honor in starting small. When God Himself said that don't despise small beginnings. And it's honorable to start where you start. And it's honorable to grow together. Yes. Because we would not be Jacques and Reshema as a solo act.
And that's why I say, you don't want to blow up. You want to grow up.
Say it again for the people.
You don't want to blow up. You want to grow up in marriage and business. And especially in business, because I told you, I said, had we blown up in business, we would have had a number of lawsuits. Because I didn't know enough. Yeah. I hadn't been in enough houses, enough construction classes, enough building class. If we would have blown up, we would have been in more trouble. Yep. We didn't know what we didn't know. Yep. And then you remember I started going to those classes, going to the code classes, the construction classes. And I remember one day I told you, I said, man, I'm glad we didn't get this contract with such and such years ago.
Yes.
I said, because I didn't know enough.
Yes. Yep.
And sometimes we're so ready to be at the top, we just despise the beginning. Though your beginning be small, so your latter end can greatly increase. But we don't like that in real life. We like to quote it. We don't like to live it.
Right. Yeah.
So I just say really it's really prideful. It just really takes being humble. And I think I told you I was listening to the young lady the other day, Toby and Nikwe, his DJ. And she's doing her own thing, and she's doing really good. She was like, I came from ghetto, poor, broke, nothing. And she said, and I'm always striving for more. She said, but I realized that if this is as high as I get up the ladder, she said, I'm so far where my family came from. I'm so far above all the struggle. Like, this is a good life.
Yes.
Like, if I live in this house and we just keep buying, like, this is a good life. And that's where we just have to turn around and just be thankful for what we do have, what we have done, what we have created. Yeah. And not be in a rush. You remember I used to always be like, what are we rushing for?
You was like, babe, where you trying to go? Like,
where are we going?
Do? Yeah.
It's like in due time, if it's for us, it is gonna come to pass.
And you remember, and I'll end with this.
Okay.
And I want to speak to the ladies. Because my pastor, she asked me a couple of months ago when I went to her for some counseling about us working together, the business, the marriage. It was just rough. It was rough last year. And she said, well, which one do you want? She said, do you want the marriage or you want the business? And without a breath, without a hesitation, I said, I want my marriage. I wanted Jacques more than I wanted anything. And she said, okay, we'll work on that. And because of working on that, everything I was looking for in the business, it started to grow. Every conversation, just our flow together started to change because we are more to me than anything. And so it became easier, not easy. I ain't gonna lie and say it's easy. It became easier because I had to remember where my heart is. So
yeah, and that's good because I don't want business without my friend.
Yeah.
We started this together. We've worked it together. We've built it together. We've had ideas laying in the bed. You know what? We never thought about that. Oh, man. And so the deception comes when you think you have built something by yourself.
Yep.
And you don't think that your partner has imparted or implanted or given you stuff. And it's just me and I'm running it. And I'm the big dog. And it's like, you're really not. Yeah. But you're the face. Yeah. But there's some behind the scenes that's helping you be the face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all joining us for another episode of Your Best Marriage Now. Just letting you know that compromise, we can have a win-win in the household where everybody feels important. Everybody can play their role on the team. Even when the roles change, it's all about doing what's best for the team.
Yeah.
All right. And we would like to give a shout out to our sponsor for this episode. It is Dream Home Inspections. They do residential and commercial inspections all over Metro Atlanta. They have been in business for almost 20 years now, over thousands of properties they've inspected. So if you are looking to get your commercial or your residential property inspected, reach out to Dream Home Inspections, and they will provide you with the education and information you need with your real estate purchase.